Hi students, up to so far we discussed in the previous classes the unit 1 and unit 2. In unit 1 we completed the process of calculation of the transmission line constants, resistance, inductance, capacitance and conductance for various transmission lines like single phase transmission line, three phase, symmetrically spaced, unsymmetrically spaced, single line circuit, double line circuit, with transposition, without transposition. And using the values of those R, L, C, G, we can form the networks of series impedance and shunt admittance called as Z and Y. So this Z and Y, whatever we have calculated in unit 1, will be helpful for us in finding out the performance analysis of the transmission line. So in unit 2, using the concepts of the values of Z and Y, we calculated the performance analysis of two transmission lines, two types of transmission lines called as short transmission line and medium transmission line. So all of us know that the performance analysis is nothing but calculation of its efficiency, transmission efficiency, how effectively the power is transmitted from the sending end side to the receiving end side with the minimization of the losses. And the second parameter which decides the performance is regulation, voltage regulation. How stiff voltage we are providing at the receiving end side is given by the term called regulation. So in unit 2 we calculated that performance parameters called efficiency and regulation for short transmission line and medium transmission line of three types of representation. They are end condenser method. We completed the process of end condenser method. Next one is nominal T method and nominal pi method. Also, we calculated the ABCD constants of all these four transmission lines called as short transmission line, end condenser, medium line, next nominal T and nominal pi. Okay. So, there we get an assumption that the parameters so far what we calculated called the resistance, inductance, representation of the lines are done in a lumped way. Even though at real time they are not lumped, they are distributed elements. So instead of showing them as distributed elements, we used their representation called concentrated elements for the purpose of calculating the quantities on the sending end side and receiving end side. So the last type of the transmission line representation is long transmission line. So in this unit 3 for today's class, we are going to start the unit 3, which is nothing but the performance analysis of long transmission line. Long transmission lines. Performance analysis of long transmission lines is our today's topic. So before starting this unit 3 about long transmission lines, let us see how to identify whether the given transmission line belongs to either short, medium or long. So the long transmission lines are the transmission lines whose length of the transmission line is greater than 120 kilometers, that is greater than 200 kilometers. Roughly it is 200 kilometers. And operating voltages are V operating. The operating voltages are greater than 120 kV. Such a transmission lines comes under long transmission line. And in the same long transmission line, we assume that the elements called resistance, inductance L, capacitance C and shunt conductance G, all these four values are distributed values. Whereas the same resistance, inductance, capacitance are RLC. All these three parameters in the previous discussions we assumed that they are lumped elements, that is concentrated. What is the difference between concentrated and distributed elements? So in the lumped elements, we will have the entire value of the transmission line at one place called as ohmic value, or Simon value called as mho, MHO. So it's a single value called as whose unit is will be either in ohms or mho. But now in this case it is not like that. The resistance and inductive reactance called as R plus JXL, which is equal to series impedance Z, will be represented in ohms per meter length. You can observe that it is defined per meter length. The meaning of this per meter length is it's a distributed element. In general, we know the unit for the impedance is ohms only, as we discussed in the previous classes called short and medium transmission lines. So in those lines we will represent that impedance as ohms only. But now here we are indicating this impedance Z in terms of ohms per meter. Okay. And next, here in the long transmission line, two more elements are also present where we neglected in the short transmission line, and for medium transmission line we neglected the G value. But now there is no such a type of assumptions that those values are neglected. All the values should be considered for having complete analysis. So that is why the Y value is called as represented with G plus J BC, which is equal to admittance of the transmission line shown as a shunt branch. Y is equal to G plus J BC, whose unit is represented here as mho value. It is also represented with per meter length. I mean to say that per meter length is nothing but it is a distributed element. Okay, so that Z and Y, series impedance and shunt admittance, both of them are distributed elements in the case of this long transmission line, which was shown in their units as per meter lengths. Okay, so distributed elements are used here. For such a distributed elements to have a complete analysis throughout the line, it is very difficult. It is very difficult. So a compact solution methodology is to be known priorly for us. So for having a convenient calculations for this long transmission line, we are going to use rigorous solution method. So the method what we are doing for this analysis is rigorous solution method, rigorous method of solution. So before applying this rigorous method, let us first see how to represent the long transmission line mathematically. Since they are distributed elements, we can't show the entire magnitudes of this Z and Y as a lumped or concentrated at one place, at one location. Either in the anti-condenser method we shown at the nearer to the load side. In T method we have shown that at midpoint of the transmission line. In pi network we divided the shunt branch into two sections, one on the receiving end side and other on the sending end side. Like that, we can't represent this long transmission line such a methodologies. We have to first let me discuss here how to show the mathematical representation of the long transmission line. First of all, the entire length of the long transmission line must be divided into n equal sections. Okay, so each section should be represented for that length. What are the values of that Z and Y? Since I am saying that entire transmission line is distributed with n equal sections, the magnitudes of that Z and Y will also be divided into n equal values, so that we can represent that n representation of the transmission line as a sections like this. Consists of a series impedance, shunt admittance. First section, second section, third one, third section, so on like that. We can extend up to nth section, having their own values of equal values, because all those lengths what I have shown here as a sectional parts is of equal sections. as I told you that there are n representations of these sections, then we can show that values as r by n, xl by n, g by n, b by n. Similarly, for the second section also we can show the magnitudes as r by n, x by n, g by n and b by n. The same holds good for this last section called nth section with the values as r by n, x by n, g by n and b by n. The quantities are the ports, whatever I am showing here are receiving end ports with quantities as VR, IR, cos phi r, developing a receiving end quantities with delivering a power of PR. Whereas this sending end side, these ports are sending end ports where we will have a constants of quantities of Vs, Is, cos phi s with the power on the sending end side as Ps. Okay. So such a big this transmission line which is modeled with n number of sections. Doing analysis is very complicated if you do like this as it is. What we have followed in the previous steps. That is what we followed in the previous step. We start our doing analysis at the receiving end side, calculating with the currents called IR and next VR for a known power of PR. Later we will see the shunt current and we will add up at this KCL. We will apply the KVL. Again, since it is an n minus 1th section, again the KCL and KVLs are used. KCL and KVLs are used. So we have to apply totally n number of KCLs and n number of KVLs for doing the analysis of this long transmission line, which is a complicated procedure. To minimize this complication in the calculations, we go for a rigorous solution method, which we are going to discuss as a first topic in this third unit. Okay. So our first today's topic is analysis of this long transmission line using rigorous method. Then what do that analysis will contain? So for the analysis we know that analyzing the quantities on the sending end side. What are the quantities to be analyzed on the sending end side? Sending end voltage Vs and sending end current Is. These are the two quantities we have to calculate for any transmission line. Here also, using this rigorous solution method, we are going to calculate the sending end voltage, which can be represented in polar notation as Vs, which is equal to its magnitude having certain angle. Let me call that as phi 1. That angle, let me call it as phi 1. Similarly, the sending end current Is, which is having certain magnitude represented in polar form, having a magnitude of Is with an angle of phi 2. Okay, our objective is to get the magnitudes of Vs, Is in terms of polar notation. So once Vs, Is magnitudes are there and the phase angles are there, then we can estimate the power factor on the sending end side called cos phi s. What is cos phi s? To get that power factor cos phi s is required. Phi s is nothing but sending end phase angle, which is defined as the difference of the angles between sending end voltage and sending end current. That is phi 1 minus phi 2 gives us phase angle phi s. Okay. So the complete story or the complete discussion lies in the calculation of Vs and Is. Using this rigorous solution method, finally we are going to get the values of this Vs, Is in terms of its independent quantities called as VR and IR. Okay. So let us see how to analyze this rigorous solution method. So before going to discuss that rigorous solution method, let me analyze about how to draw the figure. Yes, Let us go for the rigorous solution method. To use this rigorous solution method, I need to first identify a partial amount of the transmission line having a length of dx meters, okay, which is very important in our derivation part. So rigorous method I am going to discuss now, which is having a small sectional length, okay, and that small sectional length is having an impedance of, let me write out that, given like this. It's a transmission line representation with only a finite amount of the length. That finite amount of the length I have identified here as dx meters. Since the elements are distributed, I have to identify first finite amount of the length, and this finite amount of the length what we have identified is located at a distance of x meters from the receiving end side. This is x meters from the receiving end side. I repeat once again, this is a small sectional length of the long transmission line with the length of dx, and this small sectional length of dx meters line is identified at a distance of x meters from the receiving end side, so that I can call this voltage on the receiving end side as VR with the delivery current of IR, okay, and this impedance for this small sectional length of dx meters as per this distributed analysis will have as Z dx. Z is per meter length. How many meters we have assumed? Dx meters for this small finite length. That is why the impedance for this sectional length will be Z dx. Whereas the admittance, shunt admittance value will be Y dx, where Y is mho value per meter length. Like that we are having dx meters in our analysis. That is why entire admittance for that sectional length will be Y dx. And also we know the quantities of this transmission line at the receiving end side, means after this dx meters length you can identify the voltage here as capital V volts. Assumptions are very important. And the current that was leaving from this section length is capital I amperes. Capital V and capital I are the voltage and currents that are available on the complete end side of this sectional length. So we know that this part of the transmission line is having a length of dx. So on the other side, front side of this sectional length will have a voltage of V plus dV. V plus dV, where dV is finite amount of the voltage drop for a sectional length of dx meters. Okay, and also we know that because of the existence of this shunt branches, there will be a shunt currents. Those shunt current values are starting from the sending end side, its magnitude will be higher. As we are moving the analysis or the current is going completely towards the receiving end side, its magnitudes goes on decreasing, and that shunt current will be zero whenever it reaches to the receiving end side. That is our one more identification. So that before this sectional length it will have more current, after sectional length it will have less current as per our this identification. So that is why this current before entering into this section will have a I plus di current. Okay, V plus dV is front side voltage of the sectional length considered. I plus di is the front side of the current that was identified before the section. After the sectional length, the quantities are V and I. Okay, where Z dx is impedance of that sectional length, Y dx is admittance of the sectional length. These are the assumptions what we took for starting the analysis using rigorous solution method. Okay, so if you observe the voltages before and after this sectional length, there is a difference. That difference is due to the drop in that sectional length. Okay, then what is the drop? Always the voltage drops are due to the series impedance. What is that series impedance? ZDX. How much current it is carrying? Before the sectional length, the current is I plus Di, which will be converted as I. So that amount of current I will be passing through this series impedance of ZDX. Then the voltage drop called as dV. The voltage drop called as dV is equal to current in that series impedance multiplied by the value of that series impedance called IZDX. Okay, that is the first equation. Let me take it as equation 1. And observing the currents before and after the sectional length, the difference of the currents, if you see it, the difference of the currents are I plus Di is the entering current minus after sectional length the current is identified to be capital I. So the net current will be plus I minus I get cancelled and its value is Di, where Di is the finite amount of the current that is available in that section considered value dx meters, which can pass in the parallel branch called as a shunt branch. So what is Di then? Di is equal to, as per the values, I is equal to Vy. What is voltage applied for this? It is capital V. And what is the admittance of the line? Ydx. Let it be equation 2. So equations 1 and 2 are the magnitudes of the voltage and currents that are available across series impedance and shunt admittance. So across this series impedance, the voltage available is I into ZDX. Across this shunt branch, the current passing is I is equal to V into YDX. Okay, so let me rearrange the equations for having further simplification. So that simplification I am writing here as, if you check that dV, yes, this is dV, which is equal to I into Z dx, and di is equal to V into Y dx, where Z and Y are per meter length impedance and admittance respectively. Z into dx, Y into dx are the net values for that sectional length of series impedance and shunt admittance, dV and di values. So let us go further. That is, you can write this I as, let differentiate this voltage it 2 times, then dV by dx, bring this dx to this side. Before doing that, you will get this value as I into Z. Differentiate this equation with respect to x again, then you will get this as d square V by dx square is equal to the per unit impedance Z into differentiable amount of the current with respect to x, di by dx. So d square V by dx square is equal to Z into di by dx. So from this you can write this di by dx as, what is the di by dx? The di by dx is equal to V into y. V into y. So substitute this di by dx here. You will get that d square V by dx square as Vyz. Vyz. This is the simplification. For further simplification, if you bring this Vyz to this side, then you can write this as d square V by dx square minus Vyz is equal to 0. Vyz is equal to 0. It is a second order differential equation for that voltage terms. D square V by dx square minus Vyz is equal to 0 is a second order differential equation. So simplifying for this second order differential equation, we can get the solution for this V. Then What is the general solution for that second order differential equation with a coefficient of yz and a variable of x? Then we can write that as per mathematics knowledge, we can write the solution for that voltage V as V is equal to K1, constant K1 e to the power root yz x plus K2 exponential e to the power minus root yz into x. This is the general solution for a second order differential equation with the coefficient as yz for V, and with respect to x differentiation you will get this as a general solution for the second order equation. Capital V is equal to constants K1, K2, we can define it as solution K1 e to the power root yzx plus K2 e to the power minus root yz into x. And also for the same circuit I am going to analyze, I am going to introduce two more terms called as surge impedance. Surge impedance are also called as characteristic impedance. Characteristic impedance. Surge impedance or characteristic impedance represented with letter capital Z with the suffix C. ZC can be defined as square root of series impedance per meter length divided by admittance per meter length. ZC is equal to root of Z by Y. And also I am going to introduce one more term called propagation constant gamma, which is equal to square root of product of the admittance and impedance, which are defined per meter length. So for this long transmission line, to analyze in the rigorous solution method, I am going to introduce the two terms called as ZC and gamma. As gamma is called as propagation constant, which is a complex notation having a real part and imaginary part. That is gamma is equal to alpha plus j beta, where alpha is magnitude operator and beta is phase angle operator. Will be discussed in the next coming classes. So that ZC and gamma are introduced here to make the calculations to be simple. Then the voltage V is written as constant K1 e to the power gamma x plus constant K2 e to the power minus gamma x. This is the general solution for the voltage V at any point called x, where x is measured from the receiving end side. If you observe clearly here, our assumption x is started measuring from the receiving end side. Okay. Then what about the current? The current is written as, if you check it, the current is written as from the equation here. The current I is equal to 1 by Z of dV by dx. As we know the voltage equation, differentiate in terms of this voltage equation with respect to x and multiply it with 1 by Z. Then what we get is I is equal to 1 by Z of, differentiate this equation with respect to x. Then what we get is gamma K1 e to the power gamma x minus gamma K2 e to the power minus gamma x. Okay. So taking that gamma as common for further simplification, you can write that as gamma by z of constant K1 e to the power gamma x propagation constant minus K2 e to the power minus gamma x. This is the way. Let us now simplify what is gamma by z separately here. What is gamma by z? Gamma value is root yz. Propagation constant root yz divided by small z gives me root of small y by small z, where small y and small letter z indications are the parameter distributed elements. Then what is this root y by z value? Reciprocal of the surge impedance what we have defined, that is gamma by z is equal to 1 by zc. I can use this directly there. Okay, this was simplified separately for our convenient purpose. So I can write this gamma by z as 1 by zc. Substituting the same thing here, we get the current I as 1 by zc of k1 e to the power gamma x minus k2 e to the power minus gamma x. This is the current solution. So finally we got the voltage solution and current solution for doing the complete analysis. Okay, so what are they? Voltage equation is V is equal to k1 e to the power gamma x plus k2 e to the power minus gamma x, whereas the current expression I is 1 by zc of k1 into e to the power gamma x minus k2 e to the power minus gamma x, where x is the instant where we are identified this small sectional length and it is measured from the receiving end side. Our next objective is let it be equation 3 and equation 4. In these equations 3 and 4, we have to calculate those constants k1 and k2. For getting the constants k1 and k2, we use initial conditions. So what are initial conditions? Here the variable is identified to be small x, which is the measured length. So initially it should be on the x part has to be 0. Whenever this x part becomes 0, the point will be the receiving end point, where the voltage is identified as V is equal to VR and the current is identified as I is equal to IR. So for x is equal to 0 at the initial condition, V is written as VR and I is written as IR. Then equations 3 and 4 are remodified as, so V was written as VR. V was written as VR, which is equal to k1 e to the power 0, as x becomes 0 for V is equal to VR, plus constant k2 e to the power minus 0. So observing that this value is k1 plus k2 is equal to VR. Similarly, substituting the values of initial conditions in this equation 4, then the current I becomes IR, which is equal to 1 by zc of k1 e to the power 0 minus k2 e to the power minus 0. For simplification, for further simplification, you can get this equation 4 as k1 minus k2 is equal to IR into zc. So substituting the initial conditions for x is equal to 0, we got V as VR and I as IR, and the constants are identified there as k1 plus k2 is equal to VR, k1 minus k2 is equal to IR zc. Simplify now these two equations. On adding up these two, we can identify the values of k1 and k2. So addition of those two gives me k1 value as VR plus IR zc by 2 and k2 constant as, if you simplify it for these equations, then you can get this as VR minus IR zc by 2. If you add up these two, k1 and k2, then you will get VR by 2 plus VR by 2, cancelling up these drops. Then we can get that k1 plus k2 as VR, which is satisfied for this equation. Once getting the constants k1 and k2, Substitute them in equations 3 and 4 for the complete solution. The complete solution is now V is equal to K1 value VR plus IRZC by 2 into e to the power gamma x plus K2 VR minus IRZC by 2 into e to the power minus gamma x, whereas the current I can be written as 1 by ZC of, if you check it the equation 4, 1 by ZC of K1, the K1 value VR plus IRZC by 2 e to the power gamma x minus K2, constant what we have calculated, VR minus IRZC by 2 e to the power minus gamma x. This is the simplified way of V and I. So rearrange the terms. Rearranging the terms, the capital V can be written as VR coefficients all are to be written on one side and IR coefficients are all are written to be on the other side. Then what we get is VR, if I take it as common, then I will get this as e to the power gamma x plus e to the power minus gamma x by 2 multiplied by VR. In the same lines, if I do it for the current IR ZC, then you can get this as plus IR ZC was taken as common in the rearrangement. Then we can get this as e power gamma x minus e to the power minus gamma x by 2 by 2. Then it is in the form of V is equal to e to the power gamma x plus e to the power minus gamma x by 2. Exponential representations gives us a hyperbolic term, that is VR cos h gamma x. This is our representation in terms of exponential terms, plus IRZC is multiplied with the way how it was represented here in the brackets. If you check it, e to the power gamma x minus e to the power minus gamma x by 2 is the mathematical equation for a hyperbolic term in terms of sine value. Then you can write this as sine h gamma x. Okay, V in terms of VR IR we got it. In the same lines, I want to get the current I also. So rearranging the terms I with the coefficients VR and IR, then I can get this as 1 by ZC of VR as a coefficient. We get it as e power gamma x minus e power minus gamma x by 2. The next term is plus IRZC was taken as common for our convenient purpose. Then we can get within the brackets as the remaining term e power gamma x minus of minus plus e power minus gamma x divided by 2. For further simplification, I am writing in terms of hyperbolic terms as I is equal to VR by ZC. This is a sine term, sine h gamma x plus ZC get cancelled and we will get this as IR. And this exponential terms, if you verify, this is a cos term, cos h gamma x. So let the equations be this as equation 5 and this as equation 6. So 5 and 6 are the equations of voltage and currents in terms of x value and in terms of receiving end quantities of a transmission line VR, IR, defined with its propagation constants gamma and also with the characteristic impedance or surge impedance of the transmission line as ZC. That is V is equal to VR cos h gamma x plus IR ZC sin h gamma x, and I is equal to VR by ZC sin H gamma X plus IR into cos H gamma X. What is our objective? Our objective is to get the equations for voltage and current in terms of ABCD constants with its own coefficients. Okay, will be continued further.